What up to living like a G? I sound busted and I look busted. I'm feeling a little bit under the weather. I swear it's not Omarion. No, I'm just kidding. Omicron, I swear. I don't have any of those symptoms. It seems like the weather in Cali doesn't switch over until much later. And so I think the season finally changed to winter and my voice was just like, not today. So anyways, and also we're about to leave to drive to Oklahoma. So for all of you guys that are like road warriors, you know what I'm about to go through. I used to make that drive all the time when I was on tour. And now looking back, I'm like, what was I thinking? Like, why was I making that drive? But I knew why, but I was just like, oh my gosh. It reminded me of this time where I used to have to drive like by myself all the time. And, Ben and I were long distance and all this stuff. And so I kept pushing back leaving. And I was supposed to leave like way, way earlier and like stop along the way. And I just kept pushing it back. And then finally I was like, I can't push it back anymore because I'm going to have to drive like straight there. So I ended up having to drive Tulsa to Tahoe, and Tahoe is in Northern California for you guys who don't know. Tulsa to Tahoe straight. It was 25 and a half hours. I drove it completely by myself. And like the first like 6 to 12 hours, with as much as I had driven at that point, I could do like 15 hours by myself, no problem. Like 15 hours was cool. I know like some people are like, oh my God, that's crazy. But like I think one year I put like 50,000 miles on my car. So I was driving a lot. And so I was like, maybe I could do it and like, whatever. So anyways, I start driving. First 15 hours is like totally chill. You're calling all your people. You're getting beef jerky on the side of the road. You're drinking Bangs or Rockstar energy drinks or whatever. And then like the 16th hour hits in and it starts getting nighttime and you're like, am I going to make it? Like, how am I going to do this? So I start calling up. There's certain people that I know are up late, like 2, 3 in the morning, because that's the hardest part. From like 11 p.m. to 6 a.m., there's nobody awake. And a lot of times when you are driving by yourself, it's good to just have a conversation with somebody because it keeps your brain awake. And there are other tricks too, like, I know this is just like a total sidebar. And sorry, my energy is so low. I like literally feel exhausted. But one of the tricks that I learned is to keep yourself awake, to eat sunflower seeds. A lot of people don't know this, but I don't know what it is about sunflower seeds. But if you eat them, you're cracking them, you're getting the seed out, whatever. It almost like reactivates your brain or something. Or maybe there's like some enzyme in sunflower seeds that keep you awake too. Who knows? But I would be eating sunflower seeds. Well, after a little while, your mouth is the desert. It's like totally dried out from all the salt. You look like one of those mummies from, I don't know if you guys ever saw The Mummy, but like this mummy comes back to life and he's like, ah. That's what my mouth felt like after a while. So there's only so long you could do that to help keep yourself awake. But I had a few people that I would like talk to on the road, but from like 3 to 6 a.m., there was nobody. Not one person for me to talk to, nothing. And so I was on like the backside of Tahoe, on the backside of the hill, or you end up being on the backside of the hill because you go through this back way. And I should have never gone this back way, but I didn't even know it was a back way. First things first, because I was just following maps. And so maps decides to take me through this area that looks like House of Wax, okay? It's like desert, tumbleweeds. The only buildings are like rundown buildings that like serial killers live in to take their victims. And I'm like driving through this thing and I'm like, God, please don't let my car break down. Please let nothing break down where I have like a tire, nothing. Because I don't want to be stuck in this place and some weirdo comes up to me and starts trying to talk to me. So anyways, I'm driving and now at this point the sun is starting to come up and I haven't seen a gas station, nothing, like not even a Dairy Queen. Like usually out in the middle of nowhere, you'll find a Dairy Queen and a Chevron gas station. There was none of that. None of that around. So now the sun's starting to come up and I'm like, okay, good. Like the sun's going to be in my eyes. That'll wake me up a little bit. I'm probably like 20 to 22 hours in at this point, and I've driven straight. And people don't believe me when I tell them the story. I drove straight. The only time I stopped was for gas and to go to the bathroom. And then one time I stopped for food, and I didn't stop at a restaurant. I saw that in, where was I at? I think I was in Arizona. I was right by the Grand Canyon. I saw that there was a Panda Express, and I was like, this is the best food I'm going to find on these highways because everything's back roads. So I'm like, this is the best food I'm going to find. I don't care how long the wait is. I'm going to grab it. And I think it took me like 10 or 15 minutes to get it. And that was the only time that I stayed, like had a significant amount of time outside of the car beyond like 5 minutes. So anyways, the sun's starting to come up and I'm like 20, 22 hours in, and I swear on everything that is true and holy, she has grace. She is Maybelline. I saw an animal on the road. It was like a raccoon. And I was like, you know, you're half awake kind of. So your responses are a lot slower when you're tired. And so I swerve out of the way. I'm like, skirt, back into the lane. It's a 2-lane highway, so thank God nobody was coming the opposite direction on the other side. I swerve out of the way, come back into the lane. I'm like, holy frick. I'm like freaking out. And I look in my rearview mirror. And when I tell you, there was not a single thing in the road behind me. Not a rock, a pebble, a tumbleweed, a car, nothing. No animal to be found. But I swear on my life, there was a raccoon that ran, or like a possum or something that ran in the middle of the road. And I literally almost died. Like when I tell you it was like Need for Speed, Fast and Furious, like I went all the way to the other side of the lane and all the way back. It was freaking crazy. And I told myself after, it ended up being 25 and a half hours. I think I said that earlier, but it was 25 and a half hours that I drove by myself straight. And I said, never again. I will never do that again. That was the peak. But still to this day, like when I tell the story, people just don't believe that I drove that all by myself. So anyways, I'm about to do a 21-hour trip, but it's with somebody else. And we're stopping along the way, so it'll be fine. Tour is crazy. It's literally crazy. So please like and subscribe. Share this video of the time I almost died while driving 25 hours straight. I'll see you guys next week. Peace.